Hello and welcome to another KurtzPel video. I'm Zelp, and today we're going to talk about the probability of an item dropping in PvE missions. Recently, I got into a conversation with someone that plays KurtzPel on my channel, and he was kind of bumped out because he says that he likes to farm for the accessories and then sell them in Steam, but recently, because of the huge update where they introduced more items and also the hammer, they actually reduced the drop rate from 5% to 2.5%, and so he feels like it's a lot harder to get accessories. Now, a lot depends on what you're looking for, but first let me just show you real quick what I'm talking about. So these are the common missions. So before, there's only one accessory and it was 5%, but right now, because of new things being added, we have 2 accessories now per mission, and each one is 2.5%. So if you are trying to get the mustache, for example, before the mustache would be 5%, but now it's only 2.5%. So it's twice as hard of getting the mustache, which is true. But if you're trying to get accessories just so that you can extract it and get the essence to craft something more desirable, then it's different, because the chances of you just getting an accessory is actually more than 2.5%, because there is 2 here. But a lot depends on how the drop system actually works. A long time ago, when times are a lot simpler, the way games like to do it is that, let's say there is 2 items, X and Y. If they say that there is 30% of getting X and there is 30% of getting Y, then there is a 40% of not getting anything. So in those kind of games or in those kind of scenario, you'll always come out with one thing. You either get X or you get Y or you get nothing. So they all add up to 100%. But over here, you see that if you add everything up, it's going to be more than 100%, which leaves me to believe that each individual item is its own percentage. So the chances of getting this energy of chaos is 70%, this one is 30%. So they all work individually. And because of that, I'm going to actually give you a quick example so that it helps you, understand what I'm getting here. If you have a coin and you flip it, the chances of getting hits, let's say hits is the desired outcome, is 50%. But if you take the same coin and you flip it twice, now the chances of you getting hits is not going to be 50% anymore, because you have 2 chances of getting it. And it actually comes down to 75%. So a lot of people who do not understand probability, they will think that if I have a 50% chance of getting heads, for example, then by flipping twice, I should have a guaranteed chance of at least getting 1 hit. And that is not how it works. That's not how probability works. So how probability works is that you have to list down all the possible outcomes, and the one that you desire, divide by all the possible outcomes, and that is the probability of you actually getting what you want. So you end up getting at 75%. So from just that scenario, you'll see that since now instead of just 1 item, we have 2, and although the percentage is 2.5, which is lower, the actual percentage of you getting an accessory is not 2.5. So let's do the math to find out how much you actually get. The equation goes like this. There's 2, and I'm going to introduce you both of them. If you want to find out the probability of A or B happening, it's equal to the probability of event A happening plus the probability of event B happening minus the probability of A and B happening at the same time. So if you were to use the coin as example, it's 50% plus 50% minus 50% times 50%. And 50% in this case is going to be represented by 0.5. And then you'll get 1 minus 0.25, and finally you get 0.75, which is 75%. Now the other method, which is a lot better, because especially when you have a lot of accessories, this is actually a lot more simpler. What you want to do is, if you want to find the probability of event A or event B to happen, all you have to do is like 1 minus the probability of not happening or rather the things that you do not want. So basically 1 minus the probability of A not happening and also the probability of B not happening. And what will happen is that you end up getting 1 minus 50% times 50%, because remember, for a coin flip, the desired outcome is 50%, the undesired outcome is also 50%, which is why 1 minus 50% times 50%, which will give you 1 minus 0.25, which will also give you 0.75. Now what we need to do is use these equations, apply it with the value over here, and we'll actually get the actual value or actual percentage of you getting an accessory. It's not the actual value of you getting the accessory that you want, it's just the actual value of you getting an accessory. So let's look at this over here, 2.5, 2.5. So if you're using the first method, you get 0.025, which is represented as 2.5%, plus 0.025 minus 0.025 times 0.025. And that will give you 0.05 minus 0.000625 equals to 0.49. And that is close to 5%. So 0.0493, or let's round it up to 0.0494, is actually 4.94%. So before the major update, you have 5% to get a accessory. Now you're actually having a 4.94% of getting an accessory. But that is not all, because there is a very slight chance that you actually get both accessories. So the chances of event A and event B happening at the same time, all you have to do is just times them together and you'll get 0.000625. And that will come down to about 0.06%. And yeah, so although it's slightly lower, like the actual percentage of you getting an item is slightly lower by 0.06, but you also have that 0.06% of getting 2 accessories instead of 1. So if you think of it that way, it's actually not bad. In fact, it might even be a buff, because now you have a chance of getting both. However, it's still not as bad as what people feel or what people think. And I feel like this is important, because if you do not have a good understanding of it and you feel demotivated to play the game anymore because of the numbers, then well, hopefully this video will help you see or realize that it's actually not really going down. The chances of you getting an accessory is still relatively good. So since we have a little bit more time, I'm going to do the exact same calculations for the 4-man four-man boss rush missions. So over here we have 3 accessories, 2%, 2%, and 1%. And the other 4-man boss rush is also a 2%, 2%, 1%. So what are the chances of you getting an accessory if these are the odds? And all we have to do is just put in the values. Now for this, because there is more than just 2 accessories, you're flipping the coin more than twice, it gets really confusing if you were to try to do it with the first method. So the easier way is to use the second formula. Just take 1 minus the probability of all the events not happening. So what you need to do is you take 1 minus, in this case, chances of not happening is going to be 0.98, which is 98%, and then times 0.98 and times 0.99. So all you have to do is just key in those and you'll get you end up getting 1 minus 0.950796. So, and if you minus it out, you actually get a 0.0492, which comes down to 4.92%. So even though it's a little bit different, and I feel like a lot of people will have the feeling that this will actually have a higher drop rate because there is 3 now, it's not just 2. And they will actually get that feeling where, chances are really good, because if I don't get this one, I might get this one, and I might get this one. But if you really do the math, 4.92% chance of getting an accessory. Now, what this means is actually the normal boss run, the common one, has a better chance because we calculated and it's actually 4.94, whereas this one is 4.92. So it's slightly lower, and not to mention that these kind of mission, the 4 people player boss rush, usually takes a longer time to complete as well. So in terms of just getting accessories so they can extract them and then use the essence to get whatever you want, the boss rush missions is actually not that good. So with that, the final one we're going to talk about is the Blazing Blade of Calamity. Now this is a little bit different because we don't only have accessories. So far we are only doing accessories, but I'm not going to break it down to just accessories and then armor and stuff like that. Instead, I'm going to add them all up and I'm going to say like, what are your chances of getting an equipment? So in this case, we have 9 equipment over here. So therefore, if we use the method, the second method is going to be 1 minus, now we are a little bit smarter now since this is not our first time doing, we can actually do like 1 minus 0.99 to the power of 9 because there are 9 equipments over here. And what you will get, since they're all in 1%, what you get is 1 minus 0.9135. And that will give you 0.0864. And if you round that up and change it into a percentage, it's about 8.45% chance of getting an equipment by doing this. So the largest chance of getting an equipment is actually the Blazing Blade of Calamity, but in some cases you actually want to think in the long run. If you were to spam this one and you were to spam a normal boss fight, you have to consider how fast you can do it, and a lot, like different people have different speeds, so we're not going to get into that so much. But I do feel like it's easier to actually get it with the 4.9% on normal one than to get a 8.6% on Blazing Blade of Calamity, where the chances of you failing is really high. The time taken to finish it is also really long. So with that in mind, I feel like the common ones are actually the better missions to be grinding on if you're trying to get accessory. I hope this video helped you understand what you need to do so that you can maximize your productivity in the game. Also, I want to point out that which mission you think is best or is the fastest will be a debate down in the comments. So if you know, or if you feel like, let's say you think that the appearance of the giant demonic beast is the fastest one, let me know down in the comments and what you think of this video. So that is pretty much it for the video. Hopefully I did not bore you with all the numbers, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.